My name is Harold Bennett. I'm 57 years old. I spent 25 years in prison for a robbery, and when I walked out 2 years ago, I thought I was free. But I brought the prison with me, built right into the pathways of my own brain. The sentence ended, but the damage is permanent. I'm sitting here in this little apartment in Midtown Gary, trying to explain what was taken from me. It's not something you can see. It's in here. And honestly, I need to say this out loud before the silence of those years swallows me up for good. Let me tell you what happened. It started in 2000. I was 32. Before that, I was just a guy, a factory assembler. I had my GED. I was a father to a little boy. My mom raised me and my 2 brothers, and it wasn't easy, but we got by. Then I made a terrible choice, a robbery. It was violent, but I didn't use a weapon. They gave me 30 years. And in that county jail cell, waiting to be moved, I made a plan. I told myself, head down, do the time, get back to your life. I thought I was being strong for my son. I thought I could just pause everything and hit play again later. You never forget the sound of that first metal door closing an intake. It's a final sound. It clangs shut and something inside you just seals off. My boy was little. My ex-wife had him. I told myself, I'll be out before he's my age. I thought time was something you could just serve and get back, like checking a code at a restaurant. So I divorced myself from the man on the outside to survive the man on the inside. But here's the thing. You can't divorce your own mind. The changes started small. About 5 years in, my brother sent me a letter. He was one of the few who wrote, even if it was just sometimes. Inside was a photograph. It was my son. He must have been about 10 years old, wearing a baseball uniform. He was smiling. I held that picture, and I stared at it for hours. I tried to feel something. The pride, the connection, the love a father is supposed to feel looking at his kid, but I couldn't find it. All I felt was this cold, flat distance. It was like looking at a character in a storybook, not my own flesh and blood. That was the first time I got really scared, not of the prison or the men around me. I was scared of what was happening inside my own head. You see, prison has a rhythm. Counts, meals, lockdowns. Your brain adapts to it. You learn to see every shadow as a threat. You learn not to trust a soul. The noise of the gallery, the constant yelling, the gate slamming, the chaos, it becomes your normal. Then, about 10 years in, we had a lockdown. 23 hours a day in the cell for a whole week. No TV, no nothing. Just you and the walls and the silence. And in that silence, I found a new companion. I started talking to myself. I don't mean just thinking. I mean full, out-loud conversations. I'd argue points about nothing. I'd tell myself jokes and laugh. I'd recount my entire day, detail by detail. My own voice became my only safe friend. When the lockdown ended and the noise came back, it was physically painful. The yelling felt like needles. The gate sounded like an explosion. My brain had been rewired for silence. The real world had become too loud. That became my normal for the next 15 years. The ritual, the silence, the constant watchfulness. The letters from my brothers got fewer. My son stopped being mentioned. I found out my mother passed. I knew these things happened, but they felt like news from another country. A country I used to live in. My world was 8 steps long and 5 steps wide. My job was to exist in it without causing trouble. I got real good at being a prisoner. I forgot how to be a person. Then, one day, they told me I was getting out. Early release. 25 years served. I thought I'd won. I thought, this is it. I did my time. Walking out that gate was like being born onto another planet. The air smelled different. The colors were too bright, like someone had turned up the dial on the whole world. Sounds hit me in a chaotic wave. Cars, voices, a dog barking somewhere. It wasn't the steady, predictable noise of the gallery. It was messy, and it came from everywhere at once. My parole officer, a guy named Ray who didn't say much, drove me to this apartment in Midtown. He handed me keys. I just stared at him. A key to a door that wasn't locked by someone else. He said, "Good luck, Bennett." And then he was gone. I was standing in the middle of an empty room, holding my plastic bag of belongings, and I was supposed to be free. I was supposed to be Harold Bennett again. But that first night, the truth came crashing down. I couldn't sleep. The quiet. It wasn't quiet. It was a deafening kind of silence. No snores from the bunk below. No coughs echoing down the tier. No guards' footsteps on concrete. Just this thick, heavy nothing. My heart started pounding like I was in danger. I got out of bed and I started to pace, just to move. Without even thinking, I stopped after 8 steps. I turned. I took 8 steps back. I was pacing the exact length of my cell, 5 feet wide. I did it again. 8 steps, turn, 8 steps. body knew the dimensions better than my mind did. Then I just sank down, my back against the wall, and I waited for the count, for the breakfast call, for the sound of the slot opening. I sat there on the floor until the sky outside the window went from black to gray to light. The sun came up. The walls were gone, but the confinement was complete. The prison was in my programming. That's when I knew the damage wasn't something I could leave behind. It was structural. I understand it now. The brain adapts to survive. Mine made me a perfect prisoner. It made me suspicious of everyone. It made me detached from anything I couldn't control, which was everything outside my own head. It made me ritualistic, needing things done in a certain order, at a certain time, or the whole day felt wrong. It made me content, or at least accepting, of a tiny, controlled space. Those adaptations kept me alive in there. But out here, they're disabilities. Let me give you an example. A few weeks after I got out, I needed groceries. Ray gave me a list of places that would hire a guy like me. But first I had to eat. I walked to the store. Just walking down the sidewalk was an ordeal. Too much space. No one telling me where to go. I got inside, and the fluorescent lights were buzzing, and the music was playing, and there were so many colors on the shelves. I needed cereal. I stood in that aisle for 20 minutes, just staring. There were too many choices, too many boxes. In prison, you ate what they gave you. You didn't choose. My heart started racing. My palms got sweaty. A woman reached past me to get a box of oatmeal, and I flinched. I actually flinched. She looked at me like I was crazy. I left the aisle with nothing. I went home and ate a plain slice of bread. It was easier. The regret isn't just the crime. I regret that, of course, every day. But the deeper regret, the one that eats at me now, is that I didn't fight to keep my mind free every single day. I thought doing the time was the battle. I thought staying out of trouble was winning, that I was surrendering. I let my own mind become the perfect tool for my captivity. I let it wall off my son because the pain of missing him was too much. I let it find comfort in silence because the noise was chaos. I let it shrink my world down to 8 steps because anything bigger was terrifying. So why am I telling you this? It's too late for the man I was. That man, the factory assembler, the young father from Gary, he's gone. He didn't survive. What's left is this version, this one that gets overwhelmed at the grocery store, this one who still counts steps without meaning to, This one who feels like a ghost walking through a world that built itself while I was away. But it might not be too late for someone you know. If you have someone inside, listen to me. Please, don't just let them do their time. That's the worst thing you can think. Write to them. Call them. Even when it's hard. Even when you don't know what to say. Send pictures. Not just the big stuff. Send a picture of a stupid cloud you saw. Send a picture of your messy kitchen table. Send a picture of the neighbor's dog. Talk about your boring day, the traffic, the bad coffee, the movie you watched that was just okay. Fight for their mind, because the system only warehouses their body. Be their rope to the real world. Throw them that rope every single day. It's the only thing that fights the rewiring. It's the only thing that reminds them they're still a person, not just an inmate. My brother tried for a while. He sent those letters. He sent that photo of my boy in his baseball uniform. That life moves on for people on the outside, too. I don't blame him. It's a lot to ask. But I'm telling you, it's the most important thing you can do. It's a lot to ask. But I'm telling you, it's the most important thing you can do. Because the loneliness, it's not just being alone. It's a different thing. It's a hollowed out space inside you where other people are supposed to be. And after enough years, that space just gets filled with concrete. You can't get it back. The hardest moment, the one that really showed me what I'd lost, happened about 6 months after I got out. My brother, the one who used to write, he tracked me down. He called me on the phone. I almost didn't answer. The ringtone scared me, but I did. He said, "Harold, it's Mike." Just like that, like no time had passed. He said he was in town, that he'd heard I was out. He asked if he could come by. My heart was hammering. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to say no. This apartment was my cell now, and having someone come into it felt like a violation. But I heard myself say, "Yeah, okay." He came over that afternoon. I cleaned for 3 hours. I didn't own anything, but I wiped every surface. I paced. When the knock came, I froze. It took me a full minute to walk to the door and open it. And there he was, my little brother. He was 54 years old. He had gray in his hair. He had a little gut. He looked like a man. The last time I'd seen him, we were both young. He looked at me and his face did this complicated thing. A smile, but his eyes were sad. He said, "Hey, Harold." I just stood there. I didn't know what to do. Do you hug? Do you shake hands? I hadn't touched another person in a way that wasn't violent or procedural in 25 years. I think I just nodded and stepped back to let him in. He came in and looked around. The apartment was bare. A bed, a chair, a small TV Ray had helped me get. That was it. He didn't say anything about it. He just sat in the chair. I sat on the edge of the bed. We were quiet. Then he said, "I'm sorry I stopped writing. Life it got away from me." I said, "It's okay." And it was. I meant it. I understood. He talked for a while about his job, about his kids. He asked me how I was adjusting. I gave him short answers. Fine. It's okay. Getting by. The whole time I was watching him, not like you watch a brother, like you watch a potential threat. I was noting his hands, his posture. I was listening for a change in his tone. My brain was running the old program: assess, evaluate, survive. Then he said, "I saw David last year." David, my son. He said the name and it was just a word. It didn't connect to anything inside me. I just looked at him. Mike's face got more serious. "He's good, Harold. He's got a family, 2 little girls. He's a mechanic, does good work." He paused like he was choosing his words. He knows you're out," I told him. I didn't say anything. I just waited. Mike leaned forward a little. He said if you wanted to write him a letter, he'd read it. He said he's not ready for more than that, but he'd read a letter. He looked at me, expecting something, a reaction, relief maybe, or hope. This was the rope. My brother was handing me a rope to my own son. And I felt nothing but this cold, flat wall. I tried to reach for something, a feeling, a memory, a father's love, but there was just static. There was just the program. The program said, "This is a complication. This is a potential source of pain. This is outside the controlled environment. Wall it off." I heard my voice. It sounded flat, even to me. I don't know what I'd say. Mike's face fell, just a little. He tried to smile. "You could just say hello. You could tell him about getting out." I shook my head. Not a defiant shake, a lost shake. "I got nothing to tell, Mike." The room got quiet again. Silence was heavy. He was waiting for me to say more, to feel more. I was waiting for him to leave so I could go back to pacing my 8 steps, back to the safety of my own head. Finally, he stood up. He looked tired. He said, "Well, the offer's there. You have my number." He walked to the door. He turned and looked at me one more time. There was pity in his eyes, and I realized in that moment that he saw it. He saw the damage. He saw that his brother wasn't really in the room with him, that I was still somewhere else, that the man who could be a father who could be a brother was gone. He said, "Take care of yourself, Harold." I said, "You too." And then he was gone. I locked the door. I walked to the middle of the room, and I just stood there. I replayed the whole visit in my head, analyzing it like it was an incident in the yard. And then it hit me. It really hit me. He had handed me my son. My son had offered a thread a way back, and I had looked at it and I had felt nothing. Not fear, not joy, not sadness, nothing. A part of my brain that makes those connections, that feels those bonds, it had been dismantled. It had been repurposed for survival in a place where love and family are vulnerabilities you can't afford. That's when I broke. I didn't cry. I don't think I can cry anymore. But I sank down to the floor, right there in the middle of the living room, and I put my head in my hands. I understood. The robbery took my freedom, but the prison took my humanity. It took my ability to be a father. It took my ability to be a brother. It took my ability to love and be loved. It made me a ghost. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, when I realized all that, sitting on that floor, my first feeling wasn't grief. It was relief. Relief that I had an excuse. Relief that I didn't have to try. The program was working perfectly. It was keeping me safe from the terrifying, complicated mess of being a person. I was free, and I was relieved to be alone. That's the permanent damage. That's the permanent damage. The relief was the final proof. My own mind had turned against me to survive, and now it was keeping me captive in a different way. It's been 2 years since that visit from Mike. I haven't written a letter to my son David. I think about it. I have a pad of paper, but every time I pick up the pen, the wall goes up. The program runs. It's not that I don't want to. It's that the part of me that knows how to want that, it's gone. Here's what I understand now, sitting here at 57. The brain adapts to survive, but it doesn't adapt back. Not all the way. You can't put 25 years of hypervigilance, ritual, and enforced detachment into a brain and then just shake it out. It leaves a residue, a permanent wiring. The regret isn't just the crime. I live with that every day. The deeper regret is that I thought serving time was a passive thing. I thought I could just wait it out. I didn't know I had to fight every single day to keep my mind my own. I surrendered my humanity to the routine, and I can't get it back. So my advice is this, and it's the only thing that matters. If you have someone inside, you have to fight for their mind. The state will house their body. It will feed it, count it, lock it away. But their mind is your job. Don't just let them do their time. That phrase is a death sentence for the person they were. Write to them. Call them. Even when it's awkward. Even when you don't know what to say. Send pictures of the boring stuff. The traffic on your street. The weird vegetable at the grocery store. The stupid TV show you're watching. Talk about your annoying coworker. Read them a paragraph from the newspaper. Be their anchor to the world of details, of mundane choices, of trivial annoyances. That's the real world. That's what they're losing. Throw them a rope to it, and throw it every single day. It's the only thing that slows down the rewiring. And if you're the one on the outside, living your life, don't serve a sentence you haven't been given. I look out my window and I see people walking, talking on their phones, laughing. They're free, but so many of them look like they're in their own cages, stressed, angry, disconnected, staring at screens instead of each other. They're pacing 8 steps in their heads, and they don't even know it. Your freedom, your peace, your ability to connect with another person, it's not a given. It's a living thing. You have to feed it. You have to choose it. You have to fight for it. Every day you take it for granted is a day you're letting those muscles atrophy. Don't wait for a metal door to clang shut to realize what you had. For me, it's too late to be the man I was. That factory assembler, that young father from Gary, he didn't make it. What's left is me, this version. The one who gets the groceries delivered because the store is too much. The one who measures every room in steps. The one who feels more comfortable in silence than in conversation. But telling you this, it's something. It's a thread back. Maybe the only repair left is to explain the damage so someone else can avoid it. This channel, from what I understand, is for stories like mine. People who've lived through something and have a lesson carved into them, for better or worse. If what I've said here means something to you, if it made you think of someone, then hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. There are other voices here, other lessons learned the hard way. Maybe one of them will save you a piece of yourself. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me, is there someone you need to write to? Someone you've been letting do their time, emotionally or otherwise? And maybe you're the one feeling the walls close in, even though you're free. I'll read them. It might take me a while, but I'll read them. Hit the like button if this resonated. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend with a family member inside. Or maybe just someone who's building their own prison without realizing it. And if you have a story of your own, something you've learned that might help someone else carry their load, there's a form in the description. Fill it out. Maybe your story will be told next. We're all serving time in one way or another. The only thing that makes it bearable is knowing we're not alone in the cell. My name is Harold Bennett. I'm 57. I served 25 years, and my sentence never really ended. Don't make my mistake. Hold on to your people. Hold on to your mind. And for God's sake, don't just do the time. Live it. However you can, however much you have left, just live it.